wins, 3 losses. I can do maths as we head in there. But very sensible to not drag Dignitas to something like, say, a Towers of Doom, as they have been dominant on that throughout the tournament. Both teams actually 100% win rate on Curse, though, so maybe we'll see that as we move in.
Well, let's get into it then. Game number 2 at the moment. Team Dignitas leads 1-0 going up against Tempo Storm as we have this elimination match continue.
It feels like I'm going to be a bit of a parrot when I repeat myself in that we saw what happened in the Ballistic series for Tempo Storm, and I go, look, they just weren't able to find the fights, or they were able to find the fights, but not able to truly connect on those kills. For the first 10 minutes, that match was a stalemate. It was just a case of macro, and Tempo Storm were able to match the masters of that, which is Dignitas. But coming into a map like Volskaya, especially with those protectors, you cannot sort of play around forever. You are looking to achieve that. You need a composition which can skirmish, which suits Tempo Storm perfectly, hence why I love it, because you want that item prioritization to be a go-to factor.
Does the Genji favor for Team Dignitas that happened in their series versus Fnatic happen here? Because Dignitas banned him in the last game. Maiev is still available too. For Tempo Storm, the Maiev Garrosh is not going to be a possibility. Oh, actually a first pick Blaze. Bunker has achieved first pick priority.
Just Bunker, not Blaze.
Also, yes. The rest of the kit's pretty good too. You know, he's got some stuff, but Bunker
pretty
is
good.
Also awesome.
Yeah, the bunker is just so strong. We've been seeing teams use it so well. They've had so much practice with it. You can't really argue against the logic here, but once again, it means you're giving up Genji, giving up the Maiev, giving up the Garrosh, except not giving up the Garrosh. He is banned, but giving up all of these high-priority assassins. It's a question of who is going to be on the solo lane to deal with the Blaze. We've already seen Leo attempting to be used to deal with it, and it had medium amounts of success.
Tempo Storm has been banning Malfurion here, but not necessarily looking to get their support in this rotation. It's just about taking out what has been objectively the strongest pick of this whole tournament. They're going to go back to the comfort of Johanna and then follow that up, having Hanzo, having hopefully for them the bottom lane control with those Sapper. Oh no, we're on Volskaya Foundry, so you know, also item control is good.
Is there a world where Maiev gets taken by Dignitas here, or what are your thoughts?
It would be interesting. They have played it throughout this tournament, and once again, Maiev with Blaze sounds like a wonderful combo, pulling everyone into a single area, getting that huge Blaze stun, which is very, very effective. They wouldn't have Hanzo as the follow-up, but there's several mages they could pick. It could very much work here, like the Jaina, for example, but they're prioritizing the Jaina to, 1, steal it away from Tempo Storm because it's fantastic, and 2, because they also want the Genji, because, as Gilly said earlier, they've been putting a crazy amount of priority on it so far.
If we just take a step back, I was just going to say, in regards to Tempo Storm, it feels like with Garrosh off the board and Blaze being first picked and such a high priority, it feels almost like Tempo Storm needs to actually pick that Johanna, so they're kind of forced into a choke situation. Fan once again going to get that Hanzo to make sure that they have some reliable follow-up for that engage. But then I was going to say, I don't agree with the Maiev at all. I would actually much prefer the Genji. Yes, Snitch has looked a little bit shaky today, but it suits their style. It's engage, it gets amongst it, they've got macro, and they'll have kill pressure. So it's looking to basically say to Tempo Storm, this is your map, but we're going to play your style and do it better.
ETC banned away. We do know the Dignitas, they played it once or twice, but they very much have been leaning more on a Muradin so far. So the logic I can see for banning out an ETC is perhaps Tempo want to try and get some backline pressure onto Jaina, and they want to avoid the more high appealing tanks. So the ETC ban could be the logic there.
Yeah, we have seen teams be willing to dive past a Muradin.
Yeah.
Granted, with Johanna Hanzo, that's not what
not
you're
ideal,
looking at with that composition, but we'll see what comes up after that. Oh yeah, you can play of the game, the 20 game.
Yeah, if you can wait till level 10 and take the worst heroic on Johanna, then yeah, maybe you can dive past with that. But yeah, you're 100% right. Their comp doesn't lean to that so far, but I feel that could be where we are going. The question is just, what is the methodology? Maybe is Zeratul?
I quite like the Tesla ban for the sole reason that we've seen compositions, specifically mainly on the Battlefield of Eternity, when they run it with a Hanzo or any hypercarry for that idea, where you have the double support, the Tesla then provides some burst with that shield at level 4 to try and prevent that one-shot combination, which seems to be very apparent within these first 3 picks coming out here from Dignitas. It means you're looking to have 2 very front-heavy liners, and also then all your eggs into the basket of protecting his Hanzo. They are going to flex it, they are going to go for that Thrall and the Ufa. I thought the Ufa was going to be a given, because it just has so much value against what Dignitas Dignitas are threatening so far.
And picked in the right position too. You know why? Because there's no fear of any sort of poisons, because Genji and Jaina have already been shown here. This is one reason why we don't see Jaina go that high in the draft for Tempo Storm for the North American teams, because they want to be able to flex their damage dealers. But I wondered when we might see Tempo Storm adapt to that. Instead, I was hoping that we'd get the Thrall. They get the Thrall. This is a great pick for Volskaya Foundry.
It can get so much work done, and of course that bot lane pressure it can do, using Wind Fury and that conveyor belt to rotate so fast to that middle objective. This is what we've seen Tempo Storm do time and time again to incredible effect. So now the question is, what are Dignitas running in terms of main tank and support? They're going to be getting consistent harassment damage from Hanzo and the Thrall here. So they need something that can deal with that. But the hidden pick of Tempo Storm, that hidden last pick, could still be such a huge deal, which makes it so hard to lock in the support. Stitches and Deckard, it really worked last time, and now they even have Jaina as follow-up damage for it.
I mean, it just feels to me, if you're JPL, right, you're kind of just sitting there in your communications like, if in doubt, guys, you know, bust Stitches out. So I feel like that's the case, right? Once
It even
again,
rhymes.
You know, it even rhymes. You know, what a coincidence that is. But, you know, admittedly, Zelia played a fantastic game. For me, the highlight of that game had to be the conveyor belt with the sleep. The drive-by as he reads everybody a bedtime story and says, we're going to get that 3-1 series. But on a serious note, I feel like this gives them a lot of opportunities. They've combined sleeps to try and isolate the members when they do get that hook in to prevent any kind of follow-up engage, which right now Tempo Storm is showing, especially with that Thrall.
The one thing I will say that's concerning for me, for Uther on Volskaya Foundry, something we've talked about a lot, which is the long drawn-out fights over control points. He is going to have some trouble with that, but the rest of the picks that Tempo Storm worked on having, they've got the Johanna, who has a lot of health, also has her Iron Skin, Thrall and Dahaka, who have their own self-sustain, so that Uther can be a little more Hanzo-focused. Here, I hope that will be enough for them to, you know, get over that difficulty.
Right. Time for predictions.
Dignitas look strong game number 1. I don't doubt JPL and Stitches, nor did Trixler, so I'm going to stick with Dignitas here.
I think there is a lot of control for Dignitas in this draft, but if Tempo Storm is going to make the comeback happen, I would prefer for it to be now and not another reverse sweep just for the sake of my heart, so I'll say Tempo Storm.
Okay.
I don't feel Tempo Storm have been as outdrafted this time. It's not a direct counter, but the last time I bet against JPL Stitches, it bit me right on the butt, so I'm going straight for Dignitas.
All right. And I will also go for Dignitas based on draft here. Based on draft. All right, so let's see what Twitch chat thinks as well. 73% for Team Dignitas compared to the 27% here. It feels like, again, Europe gets kind of a little bit enraged when going up against North American teams, and so far Dignitas not looking too bad at all. Let's check in with our commentators as well. Here, as we have Kaldor and Trixler once again. What do you guys think of the draft?
You know what, Gilly? I actually think Tempo Storm has a pretty strong chance here. There's a lot of poke available for them. They have some great control. They might be able to beat JPL and hit Stitches.
That's his North American.
Tim, what are you doing? You're making me look bad now.
I just want people in Hero League in North America to be nice to me, so I'm gonna act like I don't care.
That's never going to happen.
You're right. You're right.
I was waiting for the pun, like they might be able to kill Stitches, but they're still 4 other players.
I don't know, man. Tempo Storm put on a good clinic in game number 1. They look pretty good. Even though Dignitas got the victory, there's a chance there. They got this.
All right, guys, run away with it.
All right, let's go into it as we go into Volskaya Foundry. Tempo Storm taking on Dignitas. Kaldor, are you okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. He's upset with me, I can tell.
I'm actually not. But if they start a comeback, I actually feel they have to do it here. Volskaya is one of their picks, so let's see what they can pull off. Tempo Storm currently down 1 game in this series with Caterpillar on Johanna, Psalm on Hansel this time. We see Fan on Thrall, June on Uther, Glorang on Dahaka. Ladies and gentlemen, Tempo Storm.
Up 1-0 so far in this best of 5 series. On the right side, Wubby playing Blaze, Snitch on Genji, Poik on Jaina, JPL on Stitches, Zelia on Deckard. It's Team Dignitas.
So the one thing for me that really stands out is that Tempo Storm has once again given up first pick and decided in favor of the map choice. And if you look at how they pick their maps in the group stage and which maps they prefer throughout this entire tournament, you will always end up with Dragonshire and Volskaya Foundry. Those are the 2 maps that they have highlighted from the get-go If Dignitas takes them down here, then I think it's going to be a very stony road for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, Tempo Storm is one of the first battlegrounds that they really got a handle on. Very similar to in Europe where we had Team Liquid and Zealous who started to understand the control of grabbing items. Tempo Storm was very similar for North America, and they have been pretty solid in that regard when it comes to this map throughout the group stages. So I expect for them to be pretty aggressive in terms of taking those items. But Dignitas, knowing this, they have the ability to grab pokes.
Dignitas showed really a lot of control during the first game and a lot of discipline, and that sells me a bit more on their draft here, just simply because they looked slightly off in the series against Fnatic, and I feel a lot of that was because of the history the two teams have. Fnatic also, I feel getting a bit of a motivational push because they were against Dignitas, but right now, Dignitas is in the driver's seat, in my opinion, and Tempo Storm has to somehow break through that. And if they can get a few kills in the early game, even before the first objective, that would be great for them. So they're currently looking to see if they can maybe collapse onto someone after just grabbing the first turret.
Take the keys away from the driver. We'll see if Tempo Storm is able to do that as they go ahead and continue to focus on finishing first off the Echo the Elements, that level 1 pickup here for Thrall, and soak the top lane. Dignitas already, though, looking to keep this map pushing forward for them with that control point spawning up pretty soon, grabbing a turret already on that bottom right side, and continuing to set up a fight here as they actually bring Blaze from the bottom lane.
Yeah, Stitches the entire time just waiting for an opportunity to get that first hook in. He was hiding in the brush there, trying to see if they can maybe land a surprise hook early on. That wasn't quite the case here. But JBL is also not speccing into any kind of slam build, so he's not adding the extra damage. Instead, we're having him with a focus on survivability through his level 1 talent, where he picked up the Hungry for More immediately, and is therefore, of course, looking for these regeneration globes. And it has a great synergy with his level 4 choice as well, heading straight into that amplified healing.
He showed this build actually on 2 Minutes Spider Queen earlier, and it seems they do this build with Decker Kane in particular, being able to boost those potions and the heals coming your way, allow for a very, very tanky tank, which is something that you're looking for. Because typically, when you look at a Stitches, if he's engaged upon, he actually really does not like that environment. He gets picked down quickly, he gets body blocked easily, but if you have Decker Kane tossing you potions and you have this build, you feel invincible.
Yeah, especially depending on the build adjustments that we're going to see from Thrall. There's a lot of potential to threaten Stitches and his hit point here quite heavily. So that's something that we have to watch out for later. Right now, it's a lot about the control of the first control point. So you're trying to make sure that you get towards the objective, and the timing on your camp is really important. That's as Dignitas grabs it early. We haven't even seen it taken by Tempo Storm. But Dignitas is now starting to collapse into the mid lane, whereas up to the top, Dehaka will have to stand there a little bit longer to make sure that this camp doesn't get too much value.
Thrall's trying to finish off his Echo of the Elements right now. Only 3 stacks away from finishing that. We also have the level 4 pickup coming in that's going to be the Frostwolf pack, meaning that we want to have a total of 6 stacks hitting heroes, which gives him the mana reduction as well as a cooldown reduction.
Great timing here by Dehaka actually, going back to the camp before he rotates into the mid lane. So they're stopping Dignitas camp themselves and have 5 men now in the mid lane. The hook against Glorong doesn't really do too much since Dehaka can simply walk away from it. But I just talked about the value that Dignitas is looking for through the top lane camp. And I really like the reaction of Tempo Storm. They took it early, they didn't cap it, and then Dehaka on his way down to the mid lane was making sure that there was equilibrium on the top lane.
Dignitas with 4 continues to hold his control point while Genji stays in the top lane, keeping up with the push. And Dignitas is actually putting up a pretty good footing here so far. 48% to the 0. Stitch continuing that poke.
Yeah, that early level 7 talent is really helping them too. That's a little power spike that no one wants to engage into. Tempo Storm gets hooked again just as they grab the extra talent now as well. But we already have Dig on 65% here as Tempo Storm again falls back, taps at the fountain, and has now really to think about, okay, how do we engage here?
They had to fall back, though, to get that level 7, and that 7 comes online, and now they get aggressive, going over and grabbing this point, while Dignitas works on grabbing that turret and the support kit. So they'll have a total of 2 turrets, and of course, the healing beacon available for them if they want to actually go for an aggressive fight. Another hook comes out, it'll be on top of Cattle here, who instantly drops the Iron Skin.
Yeah, he forces it straight off right away. Wibby now in the middle as well. Dignitas is fighting for that first protector. Here comes Glorang going in. Turrets are being dropped everywhere. The Blizzard of Jaina puts in the damage, and Tempo Storm is trying to move in. Fan in particular. The hook on the other hand against Hanzo is putting the damage on Storm. He's in trouble. Gets out with his trade, but Dignitas is claiming the space on the objective.
Storm gets out, but he is low on health, which means the rest of Tempo Storm have to back up. Stitch goes in and looking for Fan here. Gets some nice harassment on top of him as he has to back up, but it seems like the control of the control point will heavily go over to Dignitas, and they'll get the first protector of the game.
Dignitas claims the objective and a small lead in experience, and they are going to try and drop these towers as fast as they can. Getting tower after tower will increase that lead, and it will help them with level 10. And the rotation, the standard rotation that we see on this map, you drop the wall in the mid lane and you rotate to the top, and your goal will always be to not only drop the wall, but you're trying to at least eliminate the fountain so that you set yourself up for the next objective already.
Dignitas putting 3 in the bottom lane. They'll grab that turret as well and grab some experience as they get that full level over their opponents. That turret there should get them close to 10. They're almost there as the glove comes out and stops Storm from coming in with the poke, but Tempo Storm finally defends against the protector, but they are behind a full level and a quarter.
It was a 4-man commitment there to make sure that Dignitas did not get the fort or the fountain, so the sustain is still available for later on, but as you pointed out, it came at a cost. Dignitas is far ahead in experience, just simply because they split the resources on all lanes. We had that push going through the bot lane, and now we're having just that massive amount of experience that Dignitas could get through structures alone. And that forces Tempo Storm to play passive again, which allows Dignitas to go for the cams and take even more items for the next objective phase.
Did Dignitas just leave the robot in the top right corner to die by itself? I think they did. They let the protector just stay there. I'm getting Wally vibes, man. I'm feeling kind of bad about this. They just let it die.
It was basically that already.
I know, but stay within it the last couple moments. Like,
I honestly think you're overreacting here.
Maybe I am. I'm just feeling a little sensitive right now. Dignitas comes in here, clear out the middle wave.
It's a robot, it doesn't have feelings. It's a little bit like me.
That's what they say, and then Skynet comes in and ruins it for everybody. Tempo Storm hits 10 for themselves. Dragon Arrow coming online. We'll also have Isolation being picked up here for Dahaka. Thrall thinking about their heroic. Gonna be seeing the Earthquake come in, and now it's all about Uther as we're waiting for his heroic. But so far, Tempo Storm still a level behind and working on turrets.
I mean, we would expect Divine Shield to be taken to keep Hanzo alive, but if you go up against Genji, in the days of old, one of the ideas was oftentimes to grab that Divine Storm, add another CC tool to your arsenal, and then lock him down whenever he starts a Swift Strike engage. So that's still something that Jun could be thinking about, but he goes into the Divine Shield, makes sure that Hanzo will have that panic button, and I guess it goes to an extent also for Thrall here.
Divine Shield here. And Dignitas backs up as they realize Tempo Storm trying to find a fight here with sharking around to the top lane, clearing out that wave, but 13 is the main goal for both of our teams. Glaron gets hooked here. Yeah. Right into the turrets, and he's taking a hefty amount of damage.
Thrall is completing his level 4. He went into the Frostwolf pack, and he's putting it to good use here already. Snitch is low, and he goes down. Snitch gets taken apart by Hanzo, and it's a great kill for Tempo Storm. Comes at a perfect time, but the hook is putting Kettle in so much trouble, and Dignitas responds with a counter kill.
It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Dignitas able to hold in there. The bunker being on the bottom side meant there was nowhere for Genji to run, and Tempo Storm took the opportunity and ran straight for it, picking off Genji as Dignitas starts to hit level 13, but at least they get the fight.
And we have to really come back to Thrall. That was really well played by Fan here. On level 4, he made the choice to not go into the mana tide that we oftentimes see, and instead goes into the Frostwolf pack. And that quest talent is oftentimes a real nuisance to complete, since once that you miss a wolf or you die, you lose your stacks. But he completes it, and now he has that cooldown reduction, and that is really going to help him to spam these wolves out. And we've been talking earlier about how you could adapt Thrall's build to put more pressure on the Stitches, and on level 16, you get the Alpha Wolf synergy, and that is all of a sudden a fantastic tool for Thrall to make sure that JPL is really going to suffer once it comes online.
High risk, high reward, but it looks like it's going to pay off here, as Fan will be able to play well on the Thrall, continue to drop down those wolves. Fan, though, taking pressure here in the middle as Wubby comes in for a flank, and Thrall has been deleted. Another hook comes out, and that's going to be a kill as Hanzo also gets taken away.
A double kill for Dignitas. They took out the fountain at the top lane already, and they continued in the middle for 2 hero kills. Now they're going straight for the fort here. Dignitas is just gaining ground on every single lane, getting the experience at the bottom through Stitches, taking the fort in the mid lane, and capturing the objective all the way up to the top. They are starting to walk away with a massive, massive advantage in game number 2.
And it's about to get worse, too. They're grabbing all the items. Support camp grabbed right away. You have Stitches down to the bottom right working on the turret. Blaze can walk away from the fight if Tempo Storm comes to the top lane to try and defend against that control point. And with no well-being there as well, Tempo Storm will have to come for engagement, try to find a quick pick, or completely give up this protector.
There's so many adjustments here, really, when it comes to builds. We've mentioned Thrall, but we also talked at the beginning about how JPL is building into a full tank again. And that means for him on level 7 also, savor the flavor. And he has currently 2 stacks on it, permanently increasing his health regeneration, in this case, by 4 at this point. So this is really one of those builds where, yes, Thrall gets synergy on 16. He gets something, a tool that he can use against Stitches. But Stitches is also, as the game progresses, becoming harder and harder to kill and more sustainable.
And more threatening too. The longer he stays alive, more hooks that can come out, especially with Dignitas backing him up. Because for a full engage, you got that stay a while listen. And speaking about a full engage, we should have one pretty darn soon. Dignitas is waiting for level 16. Actually, they're not even waiting for it. They're starting to move on in as they grab the point.
And while we're talking here about like talents and things that could really come into play later, look at his 13. He's actually going on 13, still into Fleabag. And that's great because what's the benefit from Thrall's level 4? Cooldown reduction. And the more you get rooted as Stitches or stunned, you reduce the cooldowns of your basic abilities by 6 seconds, which means that he can just go for Stew Your Food the entire time and keep himself alive here. This is a really nice setup for JPL, and Dignitas is already in the lead. This is just more and more bad news coming for Tempo Storm, as the Protector is now moving through the top lane with a 2-level advantage, a level 16 lead, and Dignitas is looking for an easy keep here.
Storm actually dropped his Dragon's Arrow also out of nowhere. It seemed like it missed, so I think he may have fat fingered there as we have a full fight happening in the middle. Gonna have the bunker dropped right away. Protector comes in, gets the glove onto Haka. He goes for the burrow, but he is surrounded. Divine Shield comes out to save him, but Storm gets hooked. He's able to natural agility away as the rest of Tempo Storm is trying to disengage.
Tempo Storm gets just beaten around here by Dignitas in that mid lane engage, as now the Protector is moving to the top again. We've been talking about that keep, and they really want it. We're 12 minutes into the game, and Dignitas has taken level 17 against 14. They are absolutely murdering that keep right now, and Tempo Storm attempting to hold on here.
Doing their best to poke, but it's very hard for them to step up here, being 3 levels behind, a full talent behind. Looking to also start to cart down here to the middle as Glarong is buying as much as he can here to grab the turret for the experience.
He needs to. He's the one who has the global. He's trying to defend. He's trying to get the experience that is for level 16 as Tempo Storm defends in the mid lane. But Dignitas, they've actually got a good taste here of those keeps, and they said, boys, we want a second one, or at least pressure it and open the wall.
They still have a level talent advantage on their opponent. Tempo Storm's gonna go in for a fight. Here's the Dragon's Arrow. It hits multiple members of Dignitas, and they find a kill on Genji. Tempo Storm looking for more, but Dignitas is able to answer back with Jaina. Stay a while and listen as Uther gets locked down. That's gonna be 4 taken out.
Stay a while and get wrecked more. 4 kills already, and Psalm on the way back here as everyone else has fallen. Dignitas not wasting any time. The immediate move up to the top. Tempo Storm decided to take a fight before level 16, and the initiation worked out with a kill against Genji, but then Dignitas turns around and murders everyone in their path. They go straight for that core, and there is no way that Hanzo alone, that Psalm on his own, is going to be able to save this. Dignitas puts the core on 50. They are going to walk away with a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 at the mid-season brawl against Tempo Storm. A convincing victory on Volskaya Foundry.
Dignitas being able to answer back on that engage in the middle lane, but you gotta ask, Tempo Storm, do they feel like that was the only way for them to get a victory, taking a fight down a talent disadvantage? I feel like there was time for them to get that 1 level and then try and force a fight somewhere else, but maybe they felt like Dignitas would be able to disengage too much because they really put it all on that one play.
It's really a tough decision because I think that was the fight that they thought Dignitas didn't expect.